Okay, so should be rolling in here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, so if you guys cannot hear me again, be sure to tell me. I don't know what happened the last time here, so let's hope this works. Posting the link in Fantasy Degens chat right now. All right. So if you guys can hear me, I'm pretty sure the audio is working now. Okay. It is working. So let me post this to Twitter real fast. Sorry for the technical issues. Shouldn't be doing this, but should have had all this stuff figured out, but okay. See what happens here. Bear with me here. Get things going. All right, so as you guys start filing in here, qualifying has just begun. And Chase Elliott to the top of the board here to start out qualifying. Truex second, Daniel Suarez third, Ryan Newman fourth, Matt Kenseth fifth. I'm not going to go over the whole list as of yet. So as these guys get on track, obviously that's not going to hold, but we'll see what happens. As Brad Keselowski is out here now. Let's just talk about Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano real fast. I think those guys are going to be very strong picks. Depending on where they qualify. I said earlier, if you couldn't hear me, I was talking about Kyle Busch, how he just won. So he's obviously got the momentum. But two of these guys, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, depending, I don't think it really depends on where they qualify. Let's just say that. I think those guys are going to be able to stretch their fuel, do different strategies. So segment 1 only lasts 20 laps. Segment 2 only lasts 20 laps. And the final segment is 50 laps. For me, I'm assuming that people are going to stay out the first segment, pit in the middle of the second, set them up for the middle of the third segment and pit, trying to make it a two-stop strategy. You'll see other guys pit first, mid-second, mid-third, trying to make it a three-stop. It's just depending on what you want to do, but I expect Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano to be right up there. Joey Logano needs a win. His win at Richmond was encumbered, so he's going to do everything he can do to get up there and contend today. So I definitely like him, and he's very cheap on DraftKings this week. So we'll pull his salaries up here in a second. But as we go here, only 14 cars have made a qualifying lap. Brad Keselowski coming around. He is in the green by 4/10, almost 5/10 now on Chase Elliott. So it looks like he's going to vault to the top here. And as he goes around, he is P1. So Brad Keselowski looking very strong. So judging by this, if we can look at this here real fast, Truex is third. He's probably going to fall down anywhere from 8 to 10. So this is just the first round. There's 2 rounds today. So 20 minutes of round 1. So this is going to be quite the show here. You guys are probably going to get tired of hearing me. So if you guys got any questions, hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the Fantasy Degens NASCAR chat. I said, you got 18:45 left in the first stage here of qualifying. So anything can happen. So let's just go ahead and start talking about our plays. Obviously, you have to wait until you figure out the starting lineup. But I think there's a couple things you can do. As AJ Allmendinger comes out on the track, let's just talk about him. So when you go to a road course, AJ Allmendinger automatically vaults to the top of your list. I thought it was quite interesting. I was listening to the practice yesterday, and NASCAR and NBC alluded to the new aero package. And AJ was just talking about, the rear. They couldn't get the rear to turn like they wanted to, work the way they wanted to, that sort of thing. So for me, Allmendinger's not happy with his car. At his price, he's way overpriced for his car this week. If he was showing top speeds, he would be very well priced. So for me, looking at it, they didn't go out in qualifying trim yesterday. So I'm kind of surprised here. He jumps ahead of Truex. So depending on where he lies, I don't think at this moment he's going to be in the top 12. So we'll see what happens. I don't like him this week. Judging by his practice speeds, he does not like his car. And for a guy that's a road course specialist and he doesn't like his car, that speaks volumes. So Allmendinger automatically goes down to the bottom of my list this week. Now, if he qualifies 20th, he's game. But for me, I do not like him this week. He's one of my favorite drivers, but I can't dig him this week. Kyle Busch out on track, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney out on track. Michael McDowell jumps to second. I find that interesting, but Kyle Busch, Kyle Busch P1, Brad Keselowski P2, Kyle Larson P3. So, as the questions start rolling in here, let's see. Am I playing Danica? That's a very good question. Now, I know a lot of guys in the Fantasy Degens chat are not going to like me for this, but we have a thing called Rule 567 of Fantasy NASCAR. It's simply do not play Danica Patrick. And this week, you would think, coming from her Indy background, her road course background, that she'd be a great play this week. For me, she's had recency bias is going to say she's figured it out. All right, so she's probably going to be a little bit higher on than she normally is. Road course, IndyCar, that sort of thing. She's put up good numbers. All right, you can't argue against her. She's going to be a good play. Let's see. So she's 18th right now. So she's probably going to fall into that you got to play her top play. But she's 18th right now. She's probably going to vault down to 24th, 25th. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say she qualifies 26th. For a woman that comes from IndyCar background, blah, 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 blah. You know the thing. She's going to be expected by the industry to come top 15. But as I start digging into some numbers, she's not finished better than 17th here. So, if she does finish 17th from 26th, you're getting your value. But, okay, Jeff Brown, couldn't get the picture of Ryan Blaney, but all right. That's good. But back to it. I'm going to pull up the salaries real fast. I'm going to try to do a little bit better job this week of having these salaries pulled up. I know last week I relied on PJ, but PJ's doing his own thing, and best of luck to him. If you guys did not hear me, PJ and his wife had the daughter. Congratulations to him. Best of luck. So let's see. Danica Patrick this week, as I'm scrolling down the list, she's 5,900. Wow. All right. 5,900 for someone that could start 26th. Man, that's almost forcing you to play your hand there. So for her salary, she's a great play. But in terms of game theory and in terms of being contrarian this week, and I'm going to talk to being contrarian here in a second, I think it's big this week. But for me, I'm underweight on Danica regardless of where she starts. I just think, there's these wrecks, and if you've watched Watkins Glen here in the past, there's at least 2 or 3 corners that if you get loose off of and you spin, there's walls on both sides. So that's automatically a crash fest. And it takes out like 10 drivers, 5-10 drivers every time. So you don't want to go overweight on one guy this week. So Jamie McMurray goes to the top. So that's kind of interesting. But back to the point, Danica Patrick, 5,900. She's a good play. So if you're wanting to know if she's a good play, she is a good play. I'm not saying do not play her. I'm simply saying I'm going to be underweight on her just because I think she's going to wreck. I think she's going to be in some problems, but obviously game theory, and we're not going to bank on those things, but I am. So that's how I think of her. So if she qualifies 26, 27, 28, she's a good play. I'm not saying player. She's a great cash option. But for me, I'm fading her in most formats. So Jamie McMurray, P1, I mean, he's probably going to be up there where you can't play him. He's a good road course racer. Can't play him this week, I don't think. But, so here we go. Some interesting guys that moved up the board, and I'm going to talk about Cole Witt starting 20. Well, not starting 20th, but he's up to 20th. As I alluded to earlier on in the Fantasy Degens NASCAR chat, if I'm having two punts this week, I'm going to go Cole Witt and Matt DiBenedetto. I think Cole Witt and Matt DiBenedetto, they finished high 20s at Sonoma. So obviously Sonoma, a little bit more strategical than this track. Watkins Glen relies on a little bit more aero, and the stronger engines and stuff like that will prevail here. But Cole Witt's been up there all year long. Recently he's had his engine problems, but I think he's got a good sponsor back on the car. So a little bit more dollars going in his car this week. So if you're looking to punt, let's just see, 5,000. All right, 5,000 for Cole Witt. Matt DiBenedetto, 5,400. I know Matt DiBenedetto on Twitter, the Go Fast Racing team, they were complaining about brakes on the longer runs. So that was just a couple of laps. I'd go Cole Witt over Matt DiBenedetto just because those brakes, they could be a concern later on in the race. Cole Witt, growing up in California, I'm sure he had his fair share of road courses. But that's my punt options this week. I'm not, maybe David Reagan, not a big fan of him. Cole Witt, Matt DiBenedetto, keep it simple. We look here, Chris Buescher. Now, I alluded to him earlier on in the week. He didn't finish great at Sonoma, but he was up there. And, he's a teammate of A.J. Allmendinger, and it's weird seeing a teammate of Allmendinger, on JTG Racing. Buescher's got hooked up, and, he's not known as a road course guy, but he's in 5th right now, and he's looked strong. So, right now, he's in the top 12. I'm not playing him if he's in the top 12. If he falls back to 17th, 18th, and 19th, 20th, that range, I'm all over him. But I don't think he's going to fall that far. So, Michael McDowell, 7th. Just a couple of these guys that are surprising. They're showing Kurt Busch now. Kurt Busch is a great Boris said. My bad. Boris said, I know a lot of people know this guy's a road course ringer. I'm not on him this week. He's in the Jeffrey Earnhardt car. So if that tells you anything, Jeffrey Earnhardt has not done anything of late. So Jeffrey Earnhardt been weak all year long. Hulu not on that car this week. I'm sure they're thankful for that. But Boris said's going to go out here. He's probably going to start near dead last. So he's not play for me. Odds are he's going to wreck, have some kind of problem, and you just don't want that. Like I said, go Cole Witt, DiBenedetto. Wow. So as we go on through here, we got 9 minutes, 20 seconds left in qualifying. They're showing Trevor Bayne. Eric Jones is in 12th. That's the cut line. Allmendinger, Jimmy Johnson, Truex, Suarez. Suarez is he's a good option this week. So if you're looking to play Suarez, I've been on him the past couple of weeks. I love Suarez. Let's see here. What's his salary? Let's see. Daniel Suarez, 7,300. Starting 16th through 25th. Great play. Love him this week. We're going to talk about a guy in Paul Menard here as the commercial break happens. So as this commercial break happens, I'm going to go off topic of qualifying. So like I said, one of the things you want to do this week is don't go overweight on anyone. Now, I said earlier on, if you could hear me, that the pole position. The pole position has statistically proven to be a bad position to start. Excuse me. But for me, if the 18 or 78, which is 78, is not going to qualify first, so we don't have to worry about that. If either of them two would have qualified first or going to qualify first, I'm going to be probably on them. But we've seen over this year that P1 has statistically been one of the higher owned spots. So if you got a guy like Jamie McMurray, I'm sure that's going to bump his ownership percentage. Fade him. DK Wills, you guys know him. He does charts every week in the Fantasy Degens chat. He broke it down really nice, and it showed P1 is just a great position to fade. Do not play him. One or two, really, to be honest with you. So if you've got a guy like Jamie McMurray or a guy like Kurt Busch or some of this, his ownership's going to be jumped up, one. Two, the numbers back it up. And three, this race on strategy, all this stuff. Just don't go overweight on one guy. I cannot say that enough. Spread your exposures from 15 to 30. That's going to be my strategy this week. Now, there is some other advice I would like to give. If you don't have a big bankroll, now I know a lot of you guys that watch me, have pretty good sized bankrolls, but there's some guys that ask me every week how much and what contest to enter. My best advice this week is if you don't have a big bankroll, simply just go light this week, because this is going to be like a plate track in terms of randomness, strategy, that kind of thing. If you have a big bankroll, please spread your exposures to the bottom half of the field. That's probably the best advice I can give you. As we get back here on the qualifying, 6:20 to go, Martin Truex throws a wrench into my plan. He jumps up the first, and that was his second lap, so that's kind of interesting. Their second lap looks like it's going to be faster, so Truex is interesting, and I'm going to jump back to what I just said. P1 or P2 if it's Truex or Kyle Busch. Martin Truex had the best car at Sonoma, but if you look at the stats and you look at the finishing position, Martin Truex finished almost dead last, I think. He had a mechanical problem. I think it was engine let loose. That was his only mechanical engine failure of the year. He had the best car, no doubt. Looked like he's going to cruise to a win. This week, people in the garage are saying 18 and 78 have the best car again, the best cars again. So what I just said, playing P1 and P2 as a fade, if the 78 or the 18 gets the pole position, I'm not fading them. Now, granted, I'm not going to go overweight on them like I just said, but they're probably going to be one of my two higher owned guys. If you look at it, Kyle Busch won yesterday's race. Looks very strong again this week. If you follow me on Twitter, I picked him to win this race. I'm going back to back. I'm not backing off of it yet. I'll have my race winning prediction later on, but looks a strong prediction again. And I don't know what to say, but Daniel Suarez jumps to P3. So, wow. If you remember last year, I was just watching the race from Watkins Glen last year. Carl Edwards qualified P1. He was involved in a wreck later on in the race that caused him to just not have a good finish. But Daniel Suarez, he's sneaky. So even top 10, I think at his price, he could return good value. I don't think he's going to lead laps, but obviously, he's on the cutoff. He's back behind the cutoff, and he needs anything he can get. So he may be a guy that tries gambling on strategy and gets him out and leads some laps. So who knows? So as qualifying goes on here, 3:53 left in the first round. Ryan Blaney 24th, Matt Kenseth 26th, Cole Witt 30th. If Cole Witt stays 30th, I don't know. He's going to be one of my higher owned guys. That's just my views on it. Hopefully he screws it up here and stays back there. But let's talk about my guy Ryan Blaney real fast. I know you guys like joking with me a lot about Ryan Blaney, but Cole Witt jumps to 22nd. I don't know. Maybe too high for me, but we'll get back to him in a second. Ryan Blaney. He's not known as a road course guy. And as a fan, I don't expect him to do well this later today. Gosh, qualifying's got me all messed up. But don't play Ryan Blaney this week. He's going to be on the same strategy as Logano and Keselowski, so it could be a great GPP play, but certainly not a cash option for me this week. So Blaney jumps up to 8th. Yep, too high for me. Simply just don't play him this week. Michael McDowell holding the 12th spot for now. Denny Hamlin's coming back. Chase Elliott's coming back. And AJ Allmendinger in 21st. So if Chase Elliott P1. Wow. That's interesting. That's his second lap. So looks like the drivers are picking up significant time on their second lap here. Allmendinger trending in the red. So like I said, if Allmendinger qualifies 21st, I think he's going to be a chalk option. You might want to consider fading Allmendinger if he stays pat. I know a lot of people are going to be on him, but not sure if his car is that great. Like I said, he's struggling with this new aero package. So as we watch, Clinton Boyer trending in the green, Michael McDowell back in the green. Michael McDowell over AJ Allmendinger all day. All day. I don't think it's close. Allmendinger picked up significant time there coming off the final corner, going in the green, but I'm not even sure if that's going to hold. Allmendinger not pushes Buescher up to 12th. Boyer jumps to 9th, pushes Allmendinger back down to 10th. McDowell in the green, Jimmy Johnson in the green, Eric Jones in the green. So give me a minute here. I'm talking a little too much here. You're going to save my gas here. McDowell 11th, so Dale Jr. I'm not even sure where he's qualified. I may be wrong, but I'm not sure if Dale Jr. is qualified yet. So McDowell out, Allmendinger in 12th, Eric Jones 9th, Menard 20th, Dale Jr. 29th. Okay, we're going to have to talk about him here in a second. Not a big fan of him this week. Logano. Okay, Ryan Newman spins. So he's not going to have a good qualifying spot. So Casey Kane, 21st. Joey Logano trying to get in the green. We've talked about him as a great option. If Logano stays at 20th, he makes for an elite option at his price. Well, picking up time off the final corner, it's going to be close. Joey Logano 13th. There you have it. He automatically goes up here for me. So Allmendinger advances. McDowell 14th. Kenseth 15th. Ryan Blaney 16th. Chris Buescher 17th. Kurt Busch 18th. Casey Kane 19th. Kevin Harvick 20th. Paul Menard 21st. Stenhouse 22nd. 23rd. Ryan Newman. 24th. Ty Dillon. 25th. Danica Patrick. 18th. Kurt Busch. So, let me pull up some stuff here. All right, so what about Matt Kenseth or Clint Boyer? Question on Twitter. Let me pull up qualifying here real fast on my NASCAR app. Very handy app, by the way. So, some notables. You have Austin Dillon 27th, Dale Jr. 28th, Eric Almirola 29th, Trevor Bayne 30th, David Reagan 31st, Lanny Castle 32nd, Colwitt 26th. not sure I'm a big fan of him now. He might have qualified a little too high for me. Danica Patrick, 25th. So we'll talk about her in a second, but the question was Clint Boyer or Matt Kenseth. So Clint Boyer looks like he's in 10th, so he could have a chance to up his qualifying spot. Matt Kenseth, when you went to a road course like earlier on in his years, this guy automatically became one of the guys you said, you don't want to play. He's never had strong numbers at road courses, but I could see it. I'm going to pull up here Matt Kenseth's track history real fast, just to, he's in this range. You want to nail this. So pull up Matt Kenseth, Watkins Glen stats. So I definitely think 15th is right in there, GPP territory. All right, so I'm gonna bite my words here. He's never been good at Sonoma. Man, I'll rephrase that. So if you look at his rating here, last year he started 8th, finished 9th. The year before that, let me get this straight here. I resorted him. All right, I'll get this right here in a second. My apologies. Okay, last year he started 4th, finished 10th. The year before that he started 26th, finished 4th. The year before that started 8th, finished 9th. The year before that 23rd, and the year before that he started 24th, finished 8th. So judging by this, 4 out of the past 5 years, he has finished in the top 10. So he starts 15th, and just judging by those numbers alone, I'm just saying, numbers don't lie. He's 7,900 this week too. He's normally been up there at 9,000. Load up on Matt Kenseth. Well, don't load up on Matt Kenseth, but Matt Kenseth, great option. Great option. The guy behind him, Ryan Blaney, not so great option. Matt Kenseth over Ryan Blaney, no doubt. Danica Patrick, like I said, 25th. But answer that guy's question, Matt Kenseth all day. Well, Clint Boyer has a very good car. I think both of them lineup are great. But if I had to pick, I'm going to just wait and see if Clint Boyer comes in the top 5. If Clint Boyer finishes 10th in qualifying, I may like Clint Boyer just a tad bit over Matt Kenseth. But if you look at price, man, that's very, very enticing. So Clint Boyer 9,500, Matt Kenseth 7,900. Based on that alone, I'm gonna have to say Matt Kenseth. He's underpriced. So, like I said, 4 of the past 5 years, Matt Kenseth has finished in the top 10. So there you go. As we move on here, let's look at these other numbers. Some guys here. Okay, let's go back to Danica Patrick once again. She's going to be one of them options. She's so cheap, you have to nail her this week. Look, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to play it safe in some lineups and have her, but in others, I'm going to be aggressive and say she gets in wreck. So give me 10, 15% on Danica. Some guys will be up here at 30%. I'm going to be down here on the totem pole on her. Just not a big fan of her. She's never finished 117th here. But obviously, if she finishes 17th this year, at her price, it pays off. So that's all I can say about her. I don't see her finishing higher than 17th. Let's be honest. She looks great this year, but with this strategy and the wrecks and the randomness, it's just not a race I want any part of her. I can't say that enough. But if you look here, as we'll go into round 2 of qualifying, I'm looking at guys like Dale Jr. People are going to be on him. He absolutely hates his car. That car looks horrible. So he's priced higher than Matt Kenseth. Here's another thing. They brought it up in NASCAR and NBC yesterday. This was one of the races Jeff Gordon filled in for Dale Jr. last year. So he's not been at the track 2 years. Looks horrible. Looked horrible in practice. Looked horrible in qualifying. Odds are he's going to be around 20th all day. So at that price, he's enticing because he could do some strategy and all this stuff. But if we're really being honest, he's been so disappointing this year. He's disappointing in practice, disappointing in qualifying. What gives us any more hope than to say he's going to be disappointing in race? So for me, he's down here. He was down here before practice. Don't let this qualifying position – do not let this qualifying position change your opinion on him. Obviously, don't go full fade on him. Go 10, 15%. Like I said, spread your exposure. Don't go overweight on Dale Jr. He's not worth it. He's not – I mean, he finished good at Sonoma, but at this track this week, just not the right play for me, I don't think. So that's what I would say. Going on here, some more questions here. Todd Dillon or Danica? Give me Todd Dillon. It's just basic ownership. Be contrarian this week. I think you have to look at it this way. If you're deciding between two guys, similar prices, similar starting positions, go to the guy who's going to be lower owned. That's all I can say. You got two guys, even, you don't know. Go ahead. Just go ahead and get the guy lower owned. So that's all I can say. Jimmy Johnson 11th, don't play him. Clinton Boyer 10th, love him this week if he can stay there. Eric Jones, he had the extra time. I'm not sure what his price is. Let me check what Eric Jones is real fast. Eric Jones 6,500. Talk about a guy that could hold his position. He needs a win, just like Suarez. So I would honestly think Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones, they're like right here to me. They're so even, both in the top 10. But Eric Jones is 6,500. Man, I mean, Michael McDowell is more expensive than Eric Jones. You ever think that's going to happen again? No, I don't think it's going to happen again. Eric Jones, he didn't come up with the finish he did yesterday. But track time's track time. And Eric Jones is one of the up-and-coming stars of the sport. He can wheel anything. So just because he's so low priced, don't let that throw you off. I think in a week that you want to be contrarian, he makes for a very good sneaky option. Depending on if he qualifies in the bottom tier, the top 10, I think he's great. He will go overlooked for sure, but at his price, he shouldn't be going overlooked. He can provide solid value if he holds a spot. As we roll on here, we're waiting on round 2 to start. Let's continue to keep talking about some guys here. Casey Kane. So Casey Kane, Casey Kane won his first race, which is very good for him. Got some momentum going back to him. But I don't know. He's better at Sonoma for me. Let's just pull Casey Kane up real fast. While we're sitting here waiting, we're going to pull up Casey Kane Watkins Glen. If you're new to NASCAR, Driver Reference is a great site. I cannot reference that enough. Driver Averages is a racing reference, and driveraverages.com is great. It's a great resource of mine. I know many of the sharp minds in the industry look at stuff like this. So, Casey Kane at Watkins Glen here. Let's just go over the past 4 times he's been here. We'll even go back past 5. So, since he's been in the 5-car, Casey Kane, in 2012, he started 20th, finished 13th. In 2013, he started 19th, finished 34th. In 2014, he started 30th, finished 12th. 2015, started 23rd, finished 42nd. In 2016, he started 23rd, finished 20th. So, I mean, I don't have a PhD or anything, but if you look at those numbers, you got to be banking on him to come in 12th or 13th rather than the 20th, 42nd, or 34th. So That being said, I don't know. You got to spread your exposure, so I'm definitely going to have some of Case Keenum. Just not one of my favorite plays, but obviously, anything can happen. We alluded to Allmendinger earlier, so Allmendinger, I think I've done said enough about him. We'll touch on him here in a minute, but Joey Logano, as they talk to him here, I'm going to listen to what he has to say. So, when he was going through the S's, Joey Logano says that that's where he lost his time. So, says he knows he's faster than where he qualified. So, seems very confident in the car. Like I said, Todd Gordon, the Penske group, great options this week just because they can simply outdo their opponents on the pit box. Expect him to roll some strategy here to get out first. I think this just elevates their plan. I'm not sure if they're going to pit in the first segment or not. I'm still undecided, but who knows? I like Joey Logano a lot now that he qualified 13th. I don't think he's going to be as chalky as some people think. So, Joey Logano is up here for me this week, like I said earlier. So, as we go out here, we see Kyle Busch heading out. This is his second lap of qualifying. So, I'm expecting him to have a very fast lap, and I expect him to take the pole position. I'd be very disappointed if he didn't take pole position. I think this may be an out lap, so or I'm not sure. It may not be an out lap. We'll see what his time is. But yeah, I think we've alluded enough to it. I mean, Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. He won last week, and once this guy gets momentum, it's only up here from there. So it was just like one of them things, we kept asking when he's going to get it. I think he could reel off 3-4 wins now. I don't think that's out of the question. This guy's a NASCAR champion, very capable of doing so. Kyle Larson, yep, Kyle Busch won, Kyle Larson 2. Almost 3/10 faster than Kyle Larson. So, checking my Twitter here. Danica, MBD. Mm-hmm. Okay. Chase Elliott the third. So yeah, I think that second lap for a lot of these guys is going to pick up the speed. Try to find the list here. NASCAR app sort of screwed me here, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like Kyle Busch he almost finished a full second ahead of Chase Elliott there. Chase Elliott, if he qualifies 10th, 12th, I think he's going to go lower on. When I look at his salary, Chase Elliott, let's see what his salary is. 8,100. He's cheaper than Ryan Blaney. I like him a whole lot better than Ryan Blaney. 100 more than Dale Jr. Depending on where Chase Elliott qualifies, I like him better than Jr. I think Jr. just doesn't look like he can move up. That's all I can say about that. Daniel Suarez on track. Martin Truex on track. We got 5 minutes left. It's going to get hectic really fast here, so bear with me here. I feel like I've been talking for a year now, but man. Remember, Denny Hamlin won here last year, so he could be another sneaky option. I know PGA called the win there at New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, which was very awesome. Could be another sneaky play this week. So he's always a good road course racer. Last year he almost swept the road courses. If it wasn't for Tony Stewart running him in the final corner, he could have very well won both races. So never forget Denny Hamlin at these road course tracks. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Truex looks like he's almost six tenths off of Kyle Busch. I think that second lap, like I said, it's going to be the fast lap. I am hoping Mark Truex finishes 10th or 12th. I would love that. Third. Wow. That just shows you how much faster Kyle Busch is, if anything. Okay, so let's just talk about some other guys here. Jamie McMurray running. He's almost 3/10 off of Kyle Busch now. Jimmy Johnson almost 8/10 off. Eric Jones to 6th. Slowest time so far in this final round. Yeah, so bear with me, guys, here. I think, Jamie McMurray got loose, very loose off that. Wow, he's almost a second off. So is Jimmy Johnson. Now, Jamie McMurray might qualify 12th here, 10th, 12th here, that we may be able to play him. Going to be interesting to see what happens. McMurray 7th. All right, so if this holds, okay, Jimmy Johnson 8th. If Jamie McMurray qualifies 10th to 12th, I like it. We've not been able to play Jamie McMurray all season long. If you have, you've had your ups and downs, but McMurray's been a lot top 5 qualifier. He vaults up here like mid-range for me. He's going to be another sneaky option there that no one's going to see. People are going to overlook. Jamie McMurray, that name does not pop out. Other than being the McDonald's guy, it just doesn't pop out. So, Allmendinger back on track. Don't expect him to get the pole. I'd expect him anywhere from 8th to 12th. But Jimmy Johnson, he was a full 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds off. So, Jamie McMurray over Jimmy Johnson all day long, given this price range and qualifying position. So, let's see here. Checking Twitter as we speak. Allmendinger 8/10 off, falling down to 9/10. Looks like he's going to stay mid-8s. So, Allmendinger jumps above McMurray Johnson. Pulling up the prices again. Jamie McMurray 8,400. Jamie McMurray over Allmendinger. Bold prediction this week. I don't think it's that bold, but if you keep up with NASCAR, I like McMurray over Allmendinger this week. Johnson, not so much. 9,300 is too much for him. His talents, road courses just don't equal performance. We see Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Boyer among the guys that have not qualified. So, right there you have it. McMurray over Allmendinger. Allmendinger is a full fade for me. I do not like him at all. Don't play Allmendinger. He has problems. He's just not. I love Allmendinger as a driver, but DFS-wise, doesn't love the car. Probably out-qualified the car, really, to be honest with you. I think that's more talent than it is car at this point. But Jamie McMurray, I love Jamie McMurray this week. If Keselowski can jump above him, I'm loving Jamie McMurray. Keselowski, like I said, Logano and him, they're going to excuse me, allergies, but Keselowski, Logano, they're going to be up here in terms of strategy. I think you got to have your fair share of them. Obviously, Logano over Keselowski, I would assume. So if you're debating exposure, percentages, I think Keselowski may be higher on than Logano. So there you go. Keselowski, 8th, bumps McMurray one more spot. So Denny Hamlin, Clint Boyer do not qualify in the final round. I'm wondering what's going on here. So Chase Elliott looks like he got screwed out of his lap by Brad Keselowski. So Chase Elliott might have a really fast car, which obviously he does, but faster than what it could be. So, man, Jamie Murray starting 9th. I wanted him to qualify, 11th, 12th, but there you have it. Kyle Busch on the pole. Here we go. I think you've got to talk about it here. I'm going to close the show out at 1, so I'm going to start breaking this down as best I can in 7 minutes. So Kyle Busch, do you fade him? Do you not fade him? I brought up the statistic earlier. P1 seems like a legitimate fade. For me, Kyle Busch is not a fade. Kyle Busch is going back-to-back. I'm picking him to win the race. If he does lead laps, he leads laps and blah, 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 blah. I'm sure he's going to get fast laps. I'm sure he's going to get lead laps. He's probably not going to lead that many in terms of strategy. I think Kyle Busch is going to do enough that he's going to be in the optimal lineup. I think you got to have him this week. But when you got guys back there in the back that you're trying to decide between, Kyle Busch looks so good starting P1. I mean, he doesn't look like he's going to fall back. In terms of strategy, I'm sure some guy's going to try to outdo him, but he has a win. He can do strategy as well. So if you're just tuning in now, Kyle Busch won the pole. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with him. But if you were here earlier, I said P1, P2 is a strong fade. So Denny Hamlin, brake problems. No brakes for Denny Hamlin. Not sure what happened to Clint Boyer. So, I mean, that's not good for all the JGR teams. If Denny Hamlin's having brake problems at qualifying, that could be a story to watch, which puts even more emphasis on not going overboard on anybody. So Denny Hamlin looks like he's going to have to change his brakes. He's going to go back, which makes him an even better play for me. I think that's weird to say, but he starts 11th. People are going to be off of him. They're going to hear he's going to go to the back because of brake change or something. If he starts in the back, he can get on some different kind of strategy. Obviously, he could be the top guy on that strategy and could lead laps. So Denny Hamlin, that's not all that bad, I don't think. I think they're overrating it. I think you got to shake this up. So Denny Hamlin, very, very sneaky play. I know if PJ's watching, he's going to grin. But I think Denny Hamlin's going to be another sneaky option there. So as we're looking, Kevin Harvick. I don't know how I did not talk about Kevin Harvick. I don't know how I didn't talk about Stenhouse. We'll talk about Almirola and Bain here in a second as well. But Kevin Harvick starting 20th, if there's a chalk option, I think Kevin Harvick's a chalk option. Wow, 20th. I must have missed that. I do not know what I was thinking. So Kevin Harvick 20th, Logano 13th are up here for me. I don't know why I didn't miss Kevin Harvick. I'm starting to hit myself now. But Kevin Harvick, his car looks so smooth in practice. Rodney Childers likes the car. Stewart-Haas tweeted out on their Twitter yesterday that Clint Boyer and Kevin Harvick were 1-2 in race trim. Not so sure that's stuck because I think there were some guys serving serving their penalties on pit road. But Kevin Harvick has a win, can gamble on strategy. Sign me up. Kevin Harvick up here for me. Kyle Busch right there. Logano up there for me. Just naming off some of my top guys. Trevor Bayne, Stenhouse, Almirola. Those are options, you have to sprinkle in with your exposure. If you're having problems doing that, head over to fantasydegens.com. We do a great job being able to track your exposures, roster gen. It spits out 150 lineups in less than a minute or two. So, if you don't have time, any of that, head over to fantasydegens.com, get in the Slack chat. I'll be over there answering questions later. So just to round this show out, we got 2 minutes left. I'm going to look at the final results here of qualifying. I'm going to simply give you some guys that I think are going to be great plays and some guys that I don't think are going to be good plays. So here we go. I'm looking for the official results here. Probably going to get a J-Ski. If you're unfamiliar with NASCAR, J-Ski is one of the top options to look for. Great follow on Twitter as well. Let's see. Still looking for that official results. Tick. Okay, I'm going to try to do most of this off memory. So, if I do remember correctly, you had guys like Borsed, Kennedy, I think maybe Kennedy, I don't know, Kennington or something like that, back there in the back. Don't play those guys. The only thing they have going for them is they finished 36. I think there's only 36 drivers in the field. Normal weeks there's like 40, so, they're going to get some extra finishing position points. But, it kind of evens out, to be honest with you. So, no interest there. If you missed it earlier, the guys I like for punts this week, this was obviously before qualifying, were Cole Witt and Matt Benedetto. I know Cole Witt actually qualified ahead of Dale Jr. I think he's 26th, 27th. Cole Witt could be a sneaky option in terms of price. But Danica Patrick at 5,900, I think. The thing with Danica Patrick is, for me, I think she's due for some bad luck. She's been doing really great these past few weeks. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be jumping on her. I'm going to be over here on this ship that's not playing her as much. I just think that this week she's due for some bad luck with all the randomness and all this stuff. She never finished better than 17th, but if she does finish that way, that would be a solid payoff to her price. So she's a good option. I'll be over here on this other ship that's going to be low on her. So as I'm going on, I'm trying to find this list here. Bear with me. I don't know what's going on here, but it's so hard to find a finishing list. Rounding out here, Denny Hamlin, like I said, he's going to be an even better play starting from the back, but he'll be scored from 11th. He's going to be off strategy, so it makes him very sneaky. Yeah, so I'm just going to name off Paul Menard. I like him this week. I don't love him. Think you got to have exposure to him. Let's see. Still looking for these results. Ryan Newman will go to the rear. Please, NASCAR, update your site. Still no update. Looking for J-Ski to update their Twitter page with the results. All right, so Jimmy Johnson starting 10th. Don't love him. Like I said, Jamie McMurray, if you missed my Jamie McMurray take, we can finally play him at 9th. I think he's very sneaky. At his price, he's a great play. Another guy that I really like this week is Joey Logano. Like I said, strategy, you got to have him this week starting 13th. Allmendinger for me, I'm going to be fading Allmendinger. Do not like him at all with his price in starting position. Kyle Larson, no thank you. I think he starts second. Not having much of him at all this week. Clint Boyer, he will be going to the back. It does concern me a little bit with him just because I think he'll be at 9,500. Do I really want to take that risk at that price? I don't know. I think he can definitely get on a different strategy. But if you're going to tell me that Kevin Harvick starts 20th, sign me up all day at a road course. So if you had to rank the top, if I had to rank the top 5 places, I'm going to go Kevin Harvick 1, Logano 2, McMurray 3 for me. I know that's crazy. Maybe Kenseth over McMurray, but those guys are interchangeable. And to round out my 5th, that's a tough one. Maybe Trevor Bayne or Almirola, one of those guys, just for place differential purposes. Think they can improve their position. Save money and pick those guys rather than Dell Jr. Rule 88, don't play Dell Jr. this week. And Rule 567 for me, don't play Danica. That'll be my 2 strategies. Danica's a good play, like I said earlier. Stenhouse, 22nd, I think, is where he qualified. Not in love with him at all this week. Definitely think you can do better than that and just go Trevor Bayne and Almirola for that sake and just save yourself a headache. As we go on here, I know I said the show would end at 1, but I just want to get this. I'm going to do something really fast and make sure that I did not miss anybody, because if I miss anyone, I'm sure I will hear it. All right, so still no results. But yeah, like I said, Kevin Harvick up here. Make sure you put Kevin Harvick in your lineups first. If you're doing one lineup, Kevin Harvick first, put Logano in there. Avoid Dell Jr. But Martin Truex, I got to touch base on him. I don't think anyone's talking about him. I know a lot of people are going to talk about him, but Martin Truex had the best car at Sonoma. Him and Kyle Busch had the best cars today. Maybe you give the edge to Truex just because he doesn't qualify first, but Truex is going to lead laps. Kyle Busch is going to lead laps. I'm not saying fade either of those. I really like Kyle Busch. I think he's going to win the race. Most DK points scored today. Give me Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick's a top 5 car for me this week. I think he has the package to go. And with that being said, I think I'm going to close it up here. If you guys have any questions, be sure to at me in the Fantasy Degens NASCAR chat. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to head over to fantasydegen.com. Low package of $9.99 a month gets you access to all sports, especially the Slack chat. I cannot say enough about that. Slack chat, ask all the experts questions. Great value. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I feel like I've been speaking forever, but I'm going to get off here and make my lineups. And like I said, any questions, just ask me on Twitter or Slack chat. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck.